Welcome to Living a Luxury Lifestyle, where we talk with influencers in luxury lifestyle products and services from around the globe. I'm your host, Cliff Perotti. Welcome to Living a Luxury Life. I'm your host, Cliff Perotti. In this episode, we'll be talking with William Hightower, the Wine Concierge Director for Cuvée Concierge in Chicago. William is a WSET, that's Wine and Spirit Education Trust certified, and a sommelier that is very familiar with Spanish, French, and Italian wines. He'll be joining us today to talk about the wine industry as we see it in 2021. All right, welcome to the show, William Hightower.
Thank you, Cliff. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm excited. You have a subject, when we talk about wines, I don't know anybody that isn't excited by wines.
I know, that's why I'm doing this.
Yeah, it's a good thing. All right, well, let's start by a little bit about you. So where are you originally from? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up on the west side of Detroit, Michigan. And
Ooh.
I know, I was there for 18 years, and I went to Michigan State University right after high school. And I graduated in 2005, and that's when Michigan completely collapsed. And I could not find a career or a job, so I packed everything I owned in my Oldsmobile Intrigue, and I headed on 94 West and headed to Chicago.
Wow, I can remember 2005 and how Detroit just had really literally collapsed its economy.
Yeah.
And I remember because I was overseas at an investments conference in London, and the London investment teams were pitching buying houses in Detroit. And I'm going, you people don't even know Detroit. What are you talking about?
That's because the houses were extremely cheap.
Really cheap.
It was a rough time. However, my city has made a great comeback. It's a great place for entrepreneurs. A lot of great leaders are in place now. They're really getting downtown back booming, and job creation, and even the entertainment industry has taken an interest there. So I'm proud of my city.
Now, does that mean you're a Lions fan?
Yes, but
booyah, gotcha.
Yeah, I do have to stay true to the Lions.
There it is.
A true Lions fan is going to stick with them no matter what. Let's just leave it.
You know what? Great team. There's nothing wrong with them. Hey, we're in Chicago. There is nothing to talk about here.
I was gonna say, but we'll leave it at that.
So when you were in college, what was your fields of study?
Oh my God, several things. But I graduated with business management with the minor in sociology.
Okay.
It was more focused on human resource sociology, but yeah, it was just general management sociology.
So you leave college and you truck off to Chicago, and it looks like you got in the financial services. And was that kind of your first kind of real job, so to speak?
Oh, yes. I was in financial services for years. I learned a ton. I got so many different licenses. I don't know if you're familiar with the investment licenses, Series 7, 63, 65. I got all of that. I was really on a track to really take over the financial world. At least I thought I was. And so much so that I wrote a book about financial literacy back in the day.
Oh, wow.
I really took an interest in finances, but I did it. I realized that I was in finances. I was in it for the right reasons, but I really didn't have a passion behind it.
Right.
I like to educate people and help people make better choices financially. But companies don't really care about that. They just want you to bring in a seven-figure account.
So I will share with you that I did a brief stint with Shearson Lehman Hutton. So I was sitting in the 104th floor of what that time was World Trade Tower 2. And that's where you learn that that industry does not care about the consumer.
No, you really just need to have a bevy of millionaire clients, build up a book of business. And so I kind of left that industry. Wow, it's been so long.
Now you went into business consulting, it looks like, at one time. Was that?
Yeah. So basically what happened was, my story is, it's interesting. I've told the story several times, but I always find it, new things about myself when I tell it. When I left the financial industry, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. And so I was in finance for over a decade, and I've been in sales all my life. Like I've been selling since I was 14, honestly.
Okay.
Whether I was working as Circuit City or at the time when they were open, or just selling financial products or anything. So I did start through my years in my tenure in the financial world, I would consult for business and even kind of pivot into financial companies or project management. So I would really manage the financial budgets for companies or even just project management in general. And I still dabble in the project management because I'm kind of like the A-type personality where I like to see things from conception to implementation. And I'm kind of really like anal where that is like, okay, we need to do this, 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 and this. And so I still dabble in that a little bit too.
Well, and I hear that in watching some of your videos and doing some reading on you. One of the things that impresses me is that you really want to understand the story behind a wine.
My God,
from start to finish. I get that, and I really appreciate that, and I think it's valuable in your industry because I think certainly in the luxury industry that it's the story behind things that make them interesting and exceptional.
Yes, and I think in sales that makes a huge difference. I think when you're selling wine, especially a higher end wine, some people really don't connect why a certain bottle of wine costs $200, $300, maybe $700, or $5,000, or $10,000, and that's a different demographic, obviously. But when you start talking about the history and the story and the art of it all, you have to talk to someone that really appreciates art and history and even science of the wine. That's what I think is the stories are really going to be the position where I can really charm someone into understanding what they have is something great to be really honored and cherished.
Now, how did you end up in the wine industry? Your business consulting and boom, you're in wines. What
I
happened?
know. So the thing is, again, like I said, when I left the financial industry, I was just in a position like I'm just not sure what I want to do. But I kept jobs. I did consulting. I'm doing consulting to keep the lights on, right? But it's funny. My wife and I, we don't have children yet. So one of the things we love to do, we love going out to fine restaurants. We're always putting on some decent clothes and going and enjoying a meal. And I'm always was ordering wine, everything, and I just absolutely love wine. I talked about wine, and I started picking up notes, and I didn't know a thing. And then my wife looked at me and she said, "Have you ever thought about being a sommelier?" And I looked at her, I'm like, "What does that even mean? Like, what does that word mean?" I didn't even know what the word meant during that time. And she, my wife, her name is Amber. She basically just was educating me about what a somm is. And I was like, and I just had a light bulb and I just started researching it. And the more I researched it, my eyebrows started to raise and I started digging into it even more. And then I started to look at YouTube, and then I watched the Netflix special Somm. And that was really, really intriguing to me. But I knew I didn't have the time to work in a restaurant. And so people believe the true definition of a sommelier is someone who has the actual certification of a somm and has worked in the hospitality industry. But the real definition of a sommelier is someone who is just a wine steward and a purveyor of knowledge of wine. You can be certified in wine, but typically that certification pairs itself with service. I took the more educational route and I went the WSET route, the wine, spirit, education, and trust route, because I'm all about it. Everything I've done. I just like to educate people and tell people about something and open their minds to something new. And so I didn't work at a restaurant. I did train myself on the art of wine, the art of serving wine, but yeah, I really started taking this huge interest. And so on my spare time, I just got a part-time job that only paid me $15 an hour at a wine shop. And the guy that I worked with, he is a wine encyclopedia. Like the guy knows everything. And it was the best move for my passion because even though I didn't make any money, I think I made like $300 every 2 weeks. What I learned and what I gained was priceless. And I took that knowledge and I developed a business strategy where I was in a position to really look at a situation where I could really, really dig into specifics in regards to what wine is and how I can really educate people about wine. And what he taught me about wine, it it was jarring because there's a lot of things in wine that a lot of people do not know about. And I took the more sustainable route, the biodynamic route, the healthier route of educating about wine, as well as higher end wine and educating about that spectrum. And so I've been having a ball. Long answer, but yeah, that's oh, which I can't really see that. It's a little glare. Sean Miner, they're great. Sean Miner is really, really great. They, I connect with, I talk to them more than some of my friends. They're really, really
well,
great.
I saw it on one of your YouTube videos.
Yeah,
and I said, I'm going to go buy a bottle of this wine, and I'm going to pour it right in front of you and say,
I didn't see the grape varietal. What are you enjoying right now?
I'm enjoying the 2018 cab.
Okay. So that's a really great one because they're in California, and so that cab, you gotta like something that's more modern, but fruit forward and bold and juicy, and so it's very. I call that new world or modern. But some cabs from like overseas are a lot more tannic and drier,
and heavy,
heavier, but you know. I tend to gravitate towards that old world type of wine, but that's a really great wine, and I really love that wine for people that are just starting their red wine journey.
Where is Sean Miner? Are they out of the San Luis Obispo area? I mean, like out of Paso Robles, or are they out of Northern Cal?
Northern Cal. They're closer to Paso Robles. Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what that region is going to give you some richer, more juice. Because the weather is warmer, their fruit grows bigger. So more grape juice means more sugar, means more alcohol, means more flavor, more.
Well, I want you to know it's 11 o'clock in the morning, and somehow
I know. You know what? I would.
You should have had your glass. Here, get your glass.
I could go upstairs. I didn't know we were doing that at this hour, but I typically don't have a problem.
Well, that's in your honor, my friend.
Yes.
So, why wines? I mean, why not whiskeys or vodkas or tequilas? Or, I mean, is it just wine called to you?
That's a great question, and I love that question because I feel like I like alcoholic beverages. I love a bourbon. To be honest, one of my favorite drinks is the old fashioned if somebody can make it right.
Oh yeah, the Manhattan guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I am not saying that I don't enjoy wine. When I eat Mexican, I go for Casamigos tequila, but I feel that wine. There is something really beautiful about wine. Like, first of all, I'm in the people business, and I feel that when people are drinking wine, the conversations and the connections are a little bit better, and it's a culture thing as well. I think. I like, even if I'm drinking wine with someone that knows absolutely nothing about wine, there is an atmosphere or a platform or just an energy that comes from enjoying a quality bottle of wine. And I think that connections are built over this bottle.
I agree. Yeah.
I've gone to lounges and I've had a hard liquor, and I'm enjoying it, but I feel like the conversations aren't always the best because you might just be feeling it a little
funny.
quick.
Well, you know what they say what is it? In vino veritas.
Yeah, you're Italian. You can really speak to that. So I think that with wine, it's just I connect with people better, and I could have used any platform, but I'm more in the people business. The stories that go into wine, there's stories with whiskey. I've heard some great stories. I'm not saying that is the only alcoholic beverage, but there's a fact too that wine is the only alcoholic beverage that can be made without any human intervention, which means you can literally be in Italy, a grape can fall up from a vine to the ground, and then once the yeast of the air gets into the juice, it turns into wine. Will it taste good? No. But it's technically wine.
Well, I'll share something with you. So I've done a lot of international real estate, and I was in the Tuscany region, and I had some contractors that were working on a multi-million-dollar listing that I had taken, and I had found local carpenters to help fix some things and get it all ready for the photographers. And these guys would show up, and it's Italian time, so they show up at 9 and hanging out, and then by noon we're sitting in where I'm having lunch together, and it might just be that we're breaking some bread with some salami or uh, some kind of meat, and it's a cheese, and it's just but there's always wine on the table.
Yeah.
And it's not like we drink wine here in the United States. It's the casual lunch drink, and it's light, and it's typically at lunch. It's a white wine, and it doesn't have the intoxicating effect
Right.
that heavier wines do. When you're just working your day, you have a couple of these and they're little glasses, right? They just do the little tumbler things.
Yep.
And I found that interesting because it made everybody just kind of talk more, and then they go back to work, and we actually get the stuff accomplished, which is amazing. So
Yeah, that's a great point. You mentioned food, and I should have started with that because I'm a foodie. I love exotic food. I love interesting food. I love food from different cultures. It's rare. I mean, there's the only thing that I haven't tried. I went to a restaurant, they wanted to offer me kangaroo. I wasn't that courageous yet, but I love food. I love the culture of food. And so, but with wine, the marriage between wine and food is amazing. And what wine does, what it does to your palate when you're enjoying some of your favorite meals, it's just incredible. And I don't get that with whiskey. I don't get that with vodka. I don't get that with tequila.
there's a gal out of I want to say Connecticut, I believe, or Boston area, that is a science kind of person, and I only know because she's involved with she does some work with the Luxury Council out of Boston, but she has done a series of experiments and has written a thesis, so to speak, on the fact that wines taste different to your palate based upon the music that is playing in the room at the time that you drink. And
Yeah.
I thought, that doesn't make any sense. I thought, well, actually, it does make a lot of sense. Your senses are very much connected, right?
Yes.
So it just, yeah. In fact, it's funny because we have one of our members here in a little bistro chez moi in Lincoln Park wants to have this woman out and do a wine tasting night. There you go. But wants to do a thing where she can show what she's talking about. So I thought, it is really, the whole thing of wine is just fascinating to me.
Yes, and that's been a new trend with music, music and wine pairing. I've actually gone to one of those wine tastings. Very fun. I see what people are talking about. I don't discredit it whatsoever, and I think it's just people are just really discovering new ways to really dive into wine. And to be honest, even in the African American community, I'm just so proud of so many people that have really been interested in tapping into this industry and learning, because when I first got started, I didn't see a lot of people of color. And when I did find, man, they were just really, really well versed, and they were taking the time to learn. And because I wanted to make sure I got certifications and education and put the investment into my craft.
Sure.
And even what you just mentioned, the music and what, there's a guy that I follow on Instagram that does wine and hip hop segment, or wine and jazz segment, or wine and whatever the genre is. And I just found it to be very interesting. Yeah, and it's a really great time. Yeah.
So in your time off, what do you do? What do you do for fun?
Oh, I do a lot of things for fun. Pre-pandemic, I was really having a good time.
Yeah, weren't we all? Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of transitioning back in Chicago, as you may know. So, like I said, I hang out with my wife a lot. So we go out to restaurants, and we try new restaurants in Chicago. I'm actually going to Maple and Nash Saturday.
Are you? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
So that's kind of like a given. I enjoy singing a lot. I'm not going to sing on this podcast, but
wait. So are you talking like at your church, or are you talking? Oh, have you ever sang professionally, or in?
I've been hired to sing at weddings and stuff like that, but I'm not a recording artist at all.
Okay, all right. So karaoke, we're on, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And travel, I haven't my bucket. I have to get to Bordeaux. That's my on my to-do list. I was actually going to do that in 2020, but for obvious reasons I couldn't. So I'm just trying to figure out when. I'm just not super comfortable traveling overseas right now.
Well, yeah, some places you still can't. I mean, Italy closed back up.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I do love travel. I am going to Napa in 2 weeks,
Oh,
and
wonderful.
yeah. So I feel more comfortable with domestic travel, but I'm not quite sure about international travel. And there's nothing against uh, those particular countries. I'm just not sure the processes of getting back,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you
I'm
can
just
get
not.
there, but you
I don't want
just
to be stuck anywhere.
yeah, exactly.
So, but
Stuck in an
yeah,
airport.
travels, singing. I'm taking care of my family. Is just my labradoodle and my wife right now. So he's a handful, and yeah, just have a good time with that.
So, do you have a favorite type of wine?
Mhm.
What is it? Tell us.
Well, I always say, and then I'm like, I have like four. I always tend to go to there's a Chateauneuf de Pop, and I say that region, or I don't go and say a specific brand. I never when I'm asked this question, I never say, oh, get this brand.
Right.
I never say Camus. I don't even say Sean Minor. I
Hmm.
don't go there. I always talk region because you can tell a lot about a wine based upon where the grape is from. And I do love Rhone Valley wines a lot. It's complex. I don't like the one trick ponies. I drink it, I just taste wine. I like
Yeah.
cigar box. I like basil. I like herbaceousness, vegetal. And the more I drink, the more I sip, it's just opening up more and more and more. And so a Chateauneuf de Pop is like really on the top of my list. I also, if I want to travel to Italy, I really go for the Brunello or
Oh, yeah.
the Barollas. I'm a huge fan of the bees, the triple Bs in Italy.
Uh-huh.
Um, so yeah, I am a more of an old world style.
Okay.
That does not mean that I don't enjoy some of the wines that are, really fresh and new and interesting. But man, if you give me, and I actually tell people don't shop for wine for me. Like a lot of people do it, and I'm like, this isn't me. But thank you so much. I like an old world, complex, dry red. And also, I'm sorry, I forgot part of France. Pinot Noir, some Burgundy. You can't beat
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
You
No.
really can. So
Now,
they'll cost you though, but they
well,
charge.
so there has been, in just kind of doing some research for this discussion, there has been an increasing trend in blends, a surge in just blends, red blends. What I would call just
Yes.
table wine. But
Mhm.
um, are there any blends that you kind of take to at all?
Yeah, I mean, technically, a Chateauneuf de Pop is a blend. You have the Grenache, Syrah, and the Mourvedre, but I do like when people pair Syrah with some different, like a medium style cab, because Syrah just brings so much boldness to a wine. And so, but even if an old world like Bordeaux has a lot of great blends with cabs and Merlot, I think Merlot is a great way. A lot of people don't like Merlot for whatever reason. I think it was that movie. I forget the name of it. They said they hate Merlot in it, but because Merlot is one of those type of wines that kind of mellows
Was it?
things
It
out.
wasn't Sideways.
It is sideways. Thank you. Uh,
I was trying to
so
remember the name of that movie
no,
yesterday
that's
because
perfect. I was like, it's side something, but when you said
yeah,
it, so anyway, yeah, Sideways said that they hated Merlot, and so that happened. That movie was back in the '80s, I believe, and
yeah.
people have been holding on to that. Merlot is amazing by itself,
I
especially for
love
people.
Merlot.
Yeah, I do too, especially for people that like a modern style, velvety, smooth style of wine. But I love when people take a really bold, tannic red wine and add Merlot to it because
Yeah,
you can still experience some of the boldness of a wine, but it's not so. It makes it a little bit more approachable. And I
right.
use that word a lot when I do wine education because some wines just people just need it to be a little bit more approachable, where they can it's not so jarring as soon as they consume it on the
Well,
entry.
and I think especially for fledgling wine people, most. I mean, it seems to me like the pattern is you start with white wines and people tend to start with sweeter white wines and then they go to
Yeah,
drier white wines and then they go
yeah.
to lighter, like maybe Zens or whatever. They're moving down the ladder, right?
Mhm.
Until eventually they go, I just really get to a point where I really like a big bold red sometimes. Give me a good
Exactly.
stick of bold red.
Yep. And I've seen that. I've seen the very process that you just said, and I welcome it. I say, hey, just if you're interested in your wine journey, just start. where you're comfortable, and then gradually get there. You know, you don't have to start off with a Malbec from Argentina because
Yeah, yeah,
it'll be too much. You know,
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
really will. So just grad, you know, rosé is a great entry as well. You know, it's people like it when it's warm out.
I was going to say, especially during the summers of Chicago.
Absolutely. I mean, people are growing their pink parties, wear pink, drink rosé. You know,
That's
and that's
really
again,
funny.
that's the cool thing about wine.
Yeah.
You can have a themed party with it, and people that don't even like wine will come and try to enjoy it, or maybe they end up enjoying it. And so, my wife's favorite is a rosé. I don't subscribe to you can only drink wines in certain seasons, but I
Right.
prefer certain wines with certain seasons. So I do typically only drink, not only, shouldn't say only. I prefer rosé when it's warm out.
Yeah.
Um, but again, I also I shouldn't say that. I like wine all, but
But you know,
if I'm just
I know
yeah,
what you mean though, because like I like if like I'm not a huge beer drinker, right? But if I'm coming out of the water after a dive in Mexico, I'm sitting with my Corona or my Sol, you know, I'm having a good, nice, light, cold beer, you know, and it's like, ah, no,
and that's really
it's
good.
time and place. So, you know, this is about luxury, and obviously wine has a very luxurious element to it. When it
Yes.
comes to wine, how would you define a luxury wine? I know that's kind of a tricky question, but what would you think of as a luxury wine when I say that term?
When I think of luxury wine, it's not so much about the price, but the price would kind of be like the cause of a relationship. It will just have that relationship. A luxury wine is something that has ageability. So if your wine is if it has a 2 year shelf life, that's not something that I would
Yeah,
consider a luxury wine.
right,
First and foremost, most luxury wines are in the red wine category because they have the ageability to it, and they're going to age in excellence, and it's going to be in a way that will maybe even appreciate not only flavor but in value. Right. So if
right.
people are interested in wine as an actual investment, that's a real thing. There are companies out there that will help you build up your cellars, and you'll be able to trade your wine. So you may have bought a wine for $55 one day, and now it's $355. You know, depending on how long you want to age that. I also look at how a wine is farmed and grown, who the winemaker is. Those are luxury components because when you are looking at a wine as far as luxury is concerned, yeah, people want to know where it's from. You can't just slap your name on, say, a Will Hightower wine and just go buy some grape juice and be in the wine category. That wine might taste great and might have a high alcohol content, but no, people want to know in the luxury space. Um, First of all, the story. You know, how long have been growing grapes? How long have you been in the vineyard? Do you practice sustainable, farming practices? So those are key components. And again, when you open a bottle of wine, there should be an experience on your palate, and a lot of people don't get that because wine is wine. I totally disagree. I have enjoyed some expensive wine. And yes, there is a difference. And there is a difference with the experience that you have with that wine. Like I said, some wines are kind of like one trick ponies, and it
Mhm.
sounds negative, but I'm trying to say that when you're dealing with those different complexities and the science and the art, and when it starts to oxidize and like, whoa, this wine is really opening up, and then you're getting into a different category. That's what places in luxury. And there's a lot of things, but those are the main things that I look at.
Okay.
It's kind of like designer clothes, so to speak. Yes, this purse um, from a regular store, it does the same thing. It still carries your thing, but why are people paying $5,000 for a Chanel? Because the history, the story
Yeah.
behind
There's the
where,
story. Yeah. And we've
right,
talked.
where it's from, um, what goes into that. So yeah, they carry the same purpose, but there's something a little bit special, and that's why Chanel charges what they charge, and that's why women will buy that because they're buying the story, the history, and the brand. And so
Right.
you know, there are brands in wine that You can't get a Chateau Margaux for $25. Sorry. So because of
Do
the
you,
history of the brand.
it's funny. We have Remy Martin is a member of our luxury council, and
Okay.
they make fine cognacs, right? I mean, they actually, I didn't realize how many brands they actually have, but you can spend $200,000 on a bottle on a bottle of cognac, and you're going, okay, this is going to be good. Well, in fact, it really raises the question in wines: is there a correlation of price versus quality? I mean, do those two things necessarily correlate all the time, or are you all? It
Not
seems to me
not
like
all.
there's a little bit of a journey to try to find good quality at a good price.
Yeah, I think, and that's why people like myself exist, because I always look at the situation where I will reach a different demographic. And so I do have clients that are interested in wine that just tastes good and goes well with their meal, and they have a budget $50 or less. And yes, you can have a good quality wine with that. But there is there is a difference. There is a difference. The thing is, do people care about that difference, and do they see value in it? And that's
Right.
up to someone like myself to bring to educate about that, because there is a wine in California, this female winemaker, which I don't want to just acknowledge the African American community, but the female community in wine has just made leaps and bounds. It's a $500,000 a bottle, Screaming Eagle, and there's a story behind that, and I have yet to enjoy
Right,
that.
right.
And if I ever do, I probably will blast it all over the world. But there are certain wines that are priced at a certain point because, again, the brand, and there is a level of quality that goes with it. And again, a lot of wines are aged a certain way, or able to age a certain way, which lends itself to the quality of how does it break down once oxygen gets into it as well. And a lot of people look at corks or screw cap wines as a quality thing. Not necessarily. What the cork does is it allows oxygen to get into the wine so that it breaks down inside the bottle, and that's going to get a little bit better as it ages. A screw cap is something that you're going to enjoy within the next 2 years. It's
Right.
not for aging, but it's still a good wine.
Yeah.
But you're going to pay for something that has a cork and how it's made. I mean, there's so many aspects that I can go on and on. There's so many aspects that goes into making a quality bottle of wine, and they're passing that cost to the consumer. So
Yeah.
there's a vineyard that can have a machine that goes out and grabs all the grapes for you, or there's a person that's being hired that only gets the good stuff,
Yeah.
and you're going to pay that man's salary
Yeah. Yeah.
or that woman's salary because the labor that goes into it. Because a machine's going to get everything, good and bad.
Yeah.
But a human being, a person that's working for the vineyard, they're going to take their time and do that. And then, is it the barrel? How expensive is the barrel that it's aged in? So that offers quality. And then the barrel, is it brand new or is it used? That makes a difference. I have so many answers for that, but yes, I think there is a difference. You just have to educate people about the value of whether they care enough to understand the story, the history, everything that goes into making.
It's I was reflecting back to a time, and I'm from Northern California, and so I would
Oh,
go on a motorcycle ride. I had a big old motorcycle. We'd go on a motorcycle ride up into the wine country and stop at two or three wineries, right? And I was reflecting back that I stopped. I just, that's how you discover places that you hadn't thought about. So there are some wineries that are like little shacks. They have one
mm,
one field, and that's where the grapes come from. And I stopped, and I happened to land on a barrel tasting day
oh, okay.
for a Zinfandel, right? And I'd never been to a barrel tasting, and so I thought, okay, this is going to be fun, and what a little gig this is, and taste. And I said, oh my god, I loved this wine, and the name of the wine was Poison.
Mm,
Poizin, right? And they had a very good marketing story on their bottle of wine. It had a story behind the wine, but the wine was phenomenal. And at that time, I want to say I paid like what would equate to about $24 a bottle at the time. And I'm going, oh, this is great. And of course, when you buy the barrel, you're not buying, you have to wait for your stuff. And so you get your stuff and you're great. And then the next year we came back and that wine was now $45 a bottle. And I'm going, what? Because everybody had discovered it. It had been discovered, and they had a limited, their field was only so big. You know what I
Yep.
mean? They had a limited quantity that they were doing. Now, through just the evolution of that particular business model, I was somewhat disappointed to find it with a less expensive branding, in quantity for like $14 at Benny's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They went commercial on me.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I mean, that is so common. There's a wine producer, I won't say their name, but they were making this great wine and then they were bought out by a huge conglomerate. That the quality is definitely, I think that it tastes similar, but they're just adding things to it that make it not as special. But what they made several millions of dollars from selling that wine, and I think they branched off and did something else different
Yeah,
that was true to the artisanal style of winemaking.
right.
But it happens, you know. I mean,
It
you
is
have
a
these great.
business. I mean, at the end of the
It
day.
is a business, yeah. You know, I mean, everyone can't stay true to oh, family-owned vineyards. I'm only going
Yeah,
to make small batch production. You know, I get it. You know,
yeah, yeah.
I don't judge people that do it, um, but I still educate
Yeah, no,
about
that's good. Well, now,
about.
and let's touch on that because you just briefly touched on this. So, you talk in one of your videos about additives to wine
Mhm.
and versus sustainable and organic. Um, what kind of additives are being put into wines?
Well, one of the main things are kind of like in the food industry, preservatives. First of all, sulfites are a natural thing in wine through the fermentation process. But some people add sulfites on top of what's already natural about it, and that can cause health problems, especially
Right,
if you consume wine a lot, which most people do. So if you're consuming preservatives on a regular basis, that can be an issue. The reason that companies do that, especially overseas wines that are coming from overseas, is that it needs to make the journey from, you know, whether it's being whatever. It just needs to make the journey back to America. So a lot of people add sulfites to their wines, and you don't. Sulfites already have enough. I mean,
well,
sorry, wines
it
already
does
have enough.
affect the taste. It absolutely affects the
Yeah,
taste.
it does. And a lot of people think that they get these headaches from drinking wine. And that's a
Exactly right. Yeah.
no, you don't get. I've had I've had 10 glasses of wine one night, no headache. I was drunk, but no headache.
Confessions of
Um,
a sommelier. Okay.
yeah, so there is right. So there is a misconception about that. So that's the main thing. Another thing that scares me is a food coloring. People will put because if it's mass produced, you will dilute the color. So for instance, if you look at a Cabernet Sauvignon or a Syrah, that's typically, especially Syrah, inky purple, very dark in color, very rich in the color. And so because some mass producers will make so much, that color will become more and more rich because it's being diluted. And so they'll add purple color to it.
Oh,
And that's scary because you're just drinking food color.
yeah.
That's a problem for me. There are some wines that filter differently. There are some wines that are made in factories that doesn't have the healthiest winemaking practices. Again, I won't say a name, but I know that there is a very inexpensive wine that a lot of people love. And there was a report that it was a rat infested uh, facility, and it was, you know, I don't mean to make an ugly term, but no one wants to consume wine with it when they have that type of knowledge.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think there's a level of care that a true winemaker
Right.
wants to have in their wine, and it is an extra step. And it is, there's people that really care about it. There's people that are becoming enologists where they're going to school to learn how to properly farm wine. And I know mass production means more money, but it's less quality.
Right.
And I just want people to make an educated decision about what they want, you know, as opposed to just um, not being fully aware. Because we are a lot of times we're so focused on health with food, because people, especially in the food industry, if you buy a bag of potato chips, that company is obligated to put every single thing that's in the potato chip on the back of the bag. On the front of the bag, they can say organic, beautiful, pure, but the back it tells you everything that goes into it. The
Right.
wine industry is not like that.
Yeah.
They can put whatever they want in there, and they're not obligated to tell you. what's in the wine. And
Isn't
so
that funny?
it's a little jarring because we're always facing with these health issues. And, wine does have a health component to it
Right.
if made properly, especially red wine, heart health especially. But we're just not aware of everything else that goes into it. And so I've taken initiative in my business to really educate about that and really only promote wines that are following certain practices.
When you think about organic and sustainable, two terms that are very commonly used in a variety of industries, obviously, what makes a wine maker have sustainable or organic practices? I mean, what are the top two or three things you think about?
Great question. So another term that I failed to mention is natural, because a lot of people they misuse the word organic so much. An organic organic wine is really focusing on the grape and the grape alone. So it could be like an organic grape, so which means that there are no the grape that you get is what's grown from the earth, and there's nothing added to make it bigger or smaller or anything like that. It is what it is. Then you have biodynamic and sustainable farming practices. These vineyards are really focusing on the weather and the alignment of the moon, and, the effect of the soil. There again, no pesticides have been put on the product to protect it from pests and anybody that's coming to destroy the crop. It is what it is. If you have a good year, great. If somebody got to the crop, it is what it is.
Mhm.
And then natural is similar in that regard. It's just a natural wine is a wine that is, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, but there's just these really natural processes that go into making these wines. There is no human intervention when it comes to making the wine. And you got to be careful because that organic word it tripped me up a little bit, but it really just goes to the fruit. But you can have an organic grape, but you can farm it incorrectly. You can still get involved, so you can still. So people will kind of promote that, but it's like, but wait, did you add anything to that organic grape?
Yeah.
did you do
After the
anything to
fact?
that
Yeah.
organic grape?
That's interesting.
Um,
That's
but the
interesting.
word organic is just so. It's taking over, especially in the food industry. But yeah, technically it is organic grape, but you have to get an organic grape that's
But
farm
it
properly.
loses some of its luster if you're pouring purple dye into it.
Let's talk let's talk about it. But people are getting away with it, and there's just so much out there that people are getting away with. And so what I do is I typically frequent small wine boutiques that I can have a conversation with the wine consultant there, or the owner of the shop, see what they're about, see what they care about.
Mhm.
And I look at I always educate about this to my clients as well, or people that view me. I pick up my phone, I Google the brand, and I see if they have a website that comes up, and I see if they have a story, and that's typically a good sign that okay, this is legitimately made with the right practices.
Well, that it takes me to a question like, what resources, when you're wanting to help people discover that special wine, what resources do you pull on or call on to find that special, unique wine?
Again, I focus on the company websites, but I also look at region. I'm a huge regional shopper, and I don't really focus on brands unless a brand has made a relationship with me, unless the brand is just really kind of knocking it out the park, and I'm familiar, and I've maybe spoken with the owners of the vineyard managers, stuff like that. But I'm a huge regional shopper, and the reason I say that is because there are certain wine regions that are just going to trend more towards natural winemaking practices and a certain flavor profile that will not change.
Hmm.
Your weather will change, which means your flavor profile will change. And that's another sidebar. That's a great way to tell if a wine is natural. It shouldn't have the same, if your 2018, 2019, and 2020 wine should not taste the exact same because the weather is not the exact same.
Right.
But if all the wines taste the same year after year after year, there's some type of human manipulation going on to make it taste that way.
Right.
So I shop by region, and I look for I study this stuff. So I
Right.
look at Wine Bible, Wine Encyclopedia. I look at I watch James Suckling, who is like the the head of the wine world, so to speak, kind of.
Mhm.
And I just have wine mentors and just a discussion about it. And I know the public is not going to take all of that, those type of steps to ensure they're drinking a certain type of wine. But I hope that the public will reach out towards people like myself or go to wine boutiques. Supporting small businesses is a great way to not only support a small business, but have a conversation with a business owner. Because
Right.
9 times out of 10, if you go into a wine shop and it's a small shop and something owned by someone that really cares, they're going to take the time to educate you about
You know,
the wine.
it's I think of the local Benny's, right, which is big
Mhm.
in the Chicagoland area, and I'm walking down a wine aisle, and I'm thinking, how do people, a person who's not knowledgeable in what they're looking for,
Yeah.
I mean, it reminds me of going to the races one time years
Mhm.
ago, and I took a young lady to the racetrack, and I said, "All right, so you get to pick your horse," and I'm looking at the stats and doing my
Great point.
calculation to pick my winner, and she's going, "I like the colors on that one,"
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, is that how people? How do they even? I mean, there's so many wines in a store like that. It's like you really, I guess you just try something until you like something, or I mean,
Yeah, I
how does the
think the
public
main
pick?
one of the main studies show that people typically shop for budget, right? They have a
Right.
certain dollar on their mind, and so that's where they are. And then some people are just really familiar with certain regions, so they typically go towards California, Italy, or France. So Benny's will have a regional section. How I learned about wine, it was really a cool concept the guy did. He didn't categorize anything by region. He had everything by price. He's like, because when people know their budget, and he like, go
That's
to this wall.
interesting.
If you want something $15 or less, go to this wall, and we'll educate you about everything on this wall. And we had it 20 to 25, and then he had them all named like value wine, table wine, date night, special occasion, or cellar wine. So a lot of people shop for price. Another thing that people don't realize is females are the main consumers of wine when it comes to purchasing. And so a lot of vineyards will create labels that are visually stimulating to women.
Mhm.
And and make sure maybe they get a certain area of the wine store where product placement, so eye catching. So people are really focusing on what their label looks like. And
Yeah.
I've literally had people say, "I bought this wine because it was pretty."
Well,
And
I think of your what's coming to mind immediately is Folio Du. You know, their
yeah,
logo has changed and is more graceful, and it's really funny you say that. And I mean, it's across all spirits. I mean, what is the skinny vodka?
mhm.
It's all targeting that female
Yes,
demographic.
there's a
So,
fit wine has a wine out now, and doing really great things with as far as their profitability, and so to speak. But yeah, they are really targeting a certain demographic, and a certain demographic will shop for wine based on the budget that they have in their mind, as well as how the label looks. Um, and that's fair because why would you know? As you go to a a big grocery store, or no one's there to really educate you about certain wines.
yeah,
So you just, and a lot of people do trial and error. They're like, okay, this is $12. I'll grab it, take it home. Oh, it tastes good. That's my wine.
yeah.
And that's typically how it goes. And I don't judge that because I was there.
That's
I
how you
was
start.
before.
Yeah, no, you
Yeah,
start
I
to
mean,
develop your
why
preferences.
why else would I? I mean, I don't expect anything from anybody else, but that's why I like to have wine tastings and host events and videos and stuff like that to just open some minds, to just kind of give you a different way, different path to take. And I think you'll really see like, wow, this makes a difference.
Yeah, in 2020, the overall wine unit sales were up, but the sales volume declined pretty significantly. And
Mhm.
it kind of tells us what we already know, which is during tough economic times, consumers drink more, but they spend less. So they're buying cheaper bottles and drinking more of it.
Yeah,
Are you
interesting.
seeing this trend manifest itself in some of your clientele? I mean, are they? Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the question. Are they? Are you
Uh,
seeing that trend happen?
yeah, yes and no. I think what happened is I was making I was really growing the most when I was able to host events and bring in certain wines, because a lot of
Right,
people like to taste before they buy. So
right,
obviously that
of
was shut
course.
down in 2020. So people tend to, for my existing clients, they were just drinking what they were already familiar with, that I
Mhm.
educated about or discussed or sold. So the pain point with the pandemic was bringing new things. So I think there was a decline in people getting new wine, but people remained constant with just staying where they were. And
Right.
I remember when this time last year was the peak of the pandemic. Wine stores and liquor stores were considered essential. So
And they damn well are.
yeah, so yeah, people were. I mean, and it made sense because people were stuck at the house, and I mean, I went out and bought wine quite a bit. So people were just stuck at the house, and but the blessing for me is that um, I was able to. I was not 100% chained to the hospitality industry.
Right.
I did have, my wife works, and I have other income, so I was still able to partake and still do things. But I had to, like a lot of my colleagues or clients, they took an economic hurting, and they were in pain because of
Right.
there was nothing to do, and a lot of people thrive on connecting. And
Mhm.
you can't. A lot of people can't have a business unless people are
Yeah. You
there.
gotta
And so,
interact with people.
yeah. So, and I really like. I know a lot of people in the wine industry, and the wine industry suffered. It really did.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the areas in the wine sector that really exploded this last year was online sales.
Yes.
Um, can you speak to that a little bit, or what are you seeing in terms of that as a trend?
Online sales, just like Amazon or what Amazon's done to the world. I mean, you know what DoorDash has done to the food industry. It makes sense.
There's a there's
Online
a there's a wine and spirits app now too in the city.
saucy.
Yes, Saucy. I tried that one time, and hey, they were Johnny on the spot, man. I didn't have
Yeah,
to leave the
yeah.
house.
I think people are really learning. Hey, we have to go with what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
I have, but I'm so old school, Cliff. Oh my goodness. I'm still like, no, I want to have my in-person tasting. No, I want to interact with the people in person. I'm just like stuck on that. And I'm gonna get back to that. But I definitely had to go to the Zoom world, the electronic world, the virtual world. I just had to. And I think people that are way ahead of me in that regard, because I thought that it would really change the quality of what I do. But I found that people are understanding and they get it. They just still want
Yeah,
to have something to do.
and I think that's across the entire business world. I think it just
Yeah.
we're getting used to the Zoom interaction, obviously.
Yeah.
We're and we're getting more comfortable with it because it's a great compromise between just a phone call or a video that was recorded. I mean, because we can interact and we can talk and we get a sense of the person. So anyway, that's I just kind of caught my eye when I was kind of doing my homework here.
Yes.
What do you think about the let's talk about California wines for a second. I mean,
Sure.
California's been through fires, earthquakes, wind, heat wave, cold wave. I mean, what are we expecting out of the grape season this year from California? Did they lose a lot of stuff or
Yeah, they did. But they're still really putting out some amazing product.
yeah.
Just not. It's just small batch production. It's just some vineyards, they're just not able to do the amount that they once were. But I think people are really committed to putting great wine out there. I think California is something to really keep in your portfolio, your rotation of wine. I certainly will. I think California is doing what needs to be done, but California, this isn't new to them. They get it. I
Yeah.
mean, I know it makes news, and we in this discussion of global warming and things like that, and that's news. But this is not new to California. California knows what to do. You can't talk to somebody in Florida like, "Oh, you have a hurricane coming. What are you going to do?" Like they've been doing this.
Yeah,
So it's just like,
it's a hurricane, whatever.
yeah, for her. I mean, like we're in the Midwest, so we hear hurricane, we're terrified. But I mean, I'm not saying they welcome it, but they get this. And
Yeah.
I think California, I have nothing but optimistic views for California, because I think They know how to do this, and I think that's what makes wine special because um, if you have a good vintage and a good year, and people can recognize, oh, this was a great year, as
Right.
opposed to a really bad year, then the
Right.
value of that wine will go up. So you will. That's what's really cool about when someone says, "Oh, you got that 2017 wine," because people that are in the wine world, they know, oh, that was a good year for wine, as opposed to if it was a 2020 and they experienced all these problems, they're still, it might be like, maybe a little questionable. So that wine may be a little less expensive. And so that's what I'm saying. Why California knows what to do. They know how to price their wines. They know what good stuff is, and they know what's not the best, and they're going to put it out there. So I'm optimistic for California. It's what we have in America. So Oregon too. Don't discount Oregon.
Oregon, yeah, I'm not. What's funny is that I like certain valleys in Oregon, but I'm not in love. Come on, I'm from California. I was
I
spoiled.
get it. Yeah, yeah,
Really
yeah.
spoiled.
I get it.
But so when but you reminded me of something because I think about wine tastings that we've done and wine parties that I've thrown over the years, and you can do one of two different types, right? You can do it where you have, okay, you're going to focus on Zens and you're going to have 5 or 6 different Zens or 10 or whatever, however big your party is, or however much you drink. And, or you can have it where you're taking one label and you're going through the years of that wine. What do you call that? I don't know where instead of going with multiple brands, you're going with the same brand, but you're going in sequence. So you're going to have a 2020, a 2019, 2018, so that you can taste the difference.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the actual term is. I have experienced that, and there is a difference with the right producer.
Yeah.
The correct terminology is escaping me. I'm not sure what the.
Oh, I caught you on the spot. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I'm never subscribed to say I know everything. I'm studying for another license right now. So I am still a student, and I will forever be a student to wine.
Yeah, well, always refining the craft.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to switch gears on you a little bit and let's talk about Cuvée Concierge.
Yeah,
you launched this business in 2018, it looks like. And tell us about the business and what it does.
Well, thank you for asking. Cuvée Concierge. First, I want to talk about the name because a lot of people don't understand the name. So, cuvée is a wine term that means to blend wine, different grape varietals together to make one great wine. And concierge is kind of self-explanatory. It's just someone in the service role that meets specific needs. And I named it Cuvée because I wanted to blend different people from different demographics and different backgrounds together to educate about wine. I wanted someone like yourself to connect with someone that's totally different than you in the same setting. And what I said at the top of the meeting, because wine is a great connector.
It is, yeah.
You just never know what's going to happen from that connection. So I was never in the mindset of saying I'm only going to target these people. I'm only going to have it for this demographic. And so Cuvée Concierge, and the concierge is whatever you need regarding wine, my company can get it for you. So if it's the very basic would be just, do you want specific wine? I can get it for you. If you're looking for a sommelier to host an event for you, a private tasting, I could do that for you. A cellar management, we could provide that. We're also partnering with other wine shops that are really heavily focused on cellar management. We could do that. Gifts. One of the things I love to do is the gifts piece. One of my favorite gifts to do is gifting someone with a wine, the vintage year that they got married, and then telling them to hold on to it for the 20th anniversary. My wife did that. We got married in 2015. We still have a Cabernet from 2015, and we're going to crack that baby open on our 20th anniversary.
Very good.
Yeah, and so and we just do great gifting and packaging. And again, it's in a luxury space, and I've studied luxury quite a bit, and luxury is really just about the experience, and so and the presentation of it all, and we're really focusing on the presentation of it, and really just having a clientele where they really understand the need of having someone to do this for you. My wife says, "Oh, you're kind of like a wine stylist." You know how celebrities hire uh,
Yeah.
stylists to dress them
A
for red
wine
carpets. And I'm like,
stylist.
yeah, I am a wine stylist. I
I
was like,
like
I
that.
like that. Yeah, I'm like, okay, yeah. If somebody needs a certain type of wine, I can get that for them, and I can package it for them, and I can present it for them. Or like even you, Cliff, if you're like, man, I need a really great gift idea for so and so, man, we package it up. We'll give them the history and the story behind it, and so that's just a huge component of it. And one thing that I'm really trying to grow is the wine club. They have different levels for
I saw
people.
that. Can and
Yeah,
talk to me about that a little bit because
yeah.
I thought it was interesting the three different tiers you have.
Yes. So the first tier is a wine taster. So that's $50 a month for the what you'll get is 2 bottles of wine per month. And what we do with that is, again, the wine club always starts off with a complimentary conversation or a consultation. So we understand your budget, we understand what you're looking for. If you're trying to stay where you are, which people rarely do. But if you're trying to just stay in a certain category, we'll do that. If you want 2 reds a month, or 1 white, or 1 red, or 2 whites, or just rosé, we do that for you. But we prefer to mix and match. And then we do something called a wine fanatic, and that's $100 a month. And you're going to get 4 bottles of wine on a monthly basis with the story and the education. And I forgot to say this: we welcome feedback. We have to have feedback. We
Sure.
need your feedback because we don't want to keep sending you the same thing and that you don't like it.
Right.
Um, and so for 4 bottles a month, and again, the higher you go in price, the higher quality you're going to. So
Sure.
we're not just giving. If you're considered a wine taster, you're not going to get the same level of wine.
You're not sending me $2 Chuck for
No, sir. No, sir. So it's not just about the quantity of wine, the quality increases with the membership.
Right.
And then we have what I call a wine aficionado. That's 6 bottles of wine, it's $600 a month. But again, that is some of the best wines that we have to offer, and we curate that. And that's what we're all about, the curating process. We really, again, as a wine stylist,
Sure.
it's really, really customized to you and what you like. And so
Wonderful.
what I love about these memberships are, if you're opening up your home in 2021 or 2022, you'll have what you need for wine parties or wine dinners. You can really impress your guests. You can really throw a great, and that's the bulk of my clients. They just want stuff in their home so that if somebody comes over, they have something great. And I've equipped them to tell the story, to discuss the process, to really show the artistry of their wine, and they just have it. So those are the three that we have right now, and we're looking to grow that.
Now, on your website, you talk about wine dinners and tastings, which obviously nobody's been able to do in 2020. Are you starting to plan some of these events for 2021? Are you seeing some light at the end? When do you think you might be able to host your first wine dinner or wine event?
May of this year.
Oh, really? Great.
Yeah, I partnered with the hotel in the West Loop that I am completely excited about, and they're even more excited than I am. And what we're doing with them are great ideas because they have just safety precautions so people feel comfortable. Obviously, you have to wear a mask to remove your mask when you're consuming wine or any type of appetizer that we have. But when the warmer months come, it's just an open terrace, so you can drink it on the outside. And I get the CDC says that that's a little bit more safer because the air circulating and things like that.
Mhm.
So we're getting ramped up for May. I think it'll be middle of May, and I might just do like 2 a month to see what we're looking at, and then we're just going to grow from there. I think
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it. The location's amazing, and I think Chicago, we just love to do stuff. We just want to
We
do
do,
things.
and we love being outside and kind of
Yeah, we love being
during the
outside.
summer. Hey, it's no better.
I think we were in pain last year when they canceled all of our outdoor festivals.
All of our festivals. Oh,
Yeah, I'm a festival head. I go to all the music festivals, even if I don't like that genre. I just like to
it's
be.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to be a part of that. I want to give somebody something else to do, and dress up, dress down. I don't care. And what I love about my wine tastings, everything's themed. So it could be French night, it could be Spanish night, it could be date night or couples night or LGBTQ night. It could be anything. and everything will be really so you can or singles night so people can connect and meet up. I haven't been single for a while, but I can imagine the pandemic has really
you gotta be careful here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be in trouble. I hope Amber's not listening.
She will. But I'm just saying, it's just an atmosphere where people just really miss interacting, and so I think we can figure out a safe way to do it. I think it'll be successful. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm just gonna just test around to see if people are nipping at it a little bit. And I have help with the hotel, and looking forward to I have help in regards to them promoting it.
Sure.
And to their membership base, because it's like it's kind of like you're familiar with Soho House.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a membership similar to that, where they have a clientele where they want to invite people to their rec space and having me come in. So yeah, looking forward to that. And virtually, we're definitely doing things. I was thinking about I am going to do a wine tasting where we just focus on the region. I'm not supplying the wine. I'm saying, hey, go out and buy.
Here's your list of wines. Buy your 3 bottles. And
and it might just be like I'm going to teach about Spain today. Go out and find whatever Spanish wine you can, and we're just going to educate about that. And I think that helps people to feel comfortable staying in. It's still fun. It's interactive. And if you're not comfortable going out, we'll just do that. But no, I won't be saying you have to buy the Sean Minor wine, because people might not be able to get Sean Minor, but they can go out and get something from California if we have California Day. So,
well, William Hightower, Wine Concierge Director for Cuvée Concierge. Mm-hmm. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on Living a Luxury Life. Thank you very much for joining us.
Cliff, the pleasure was mine. I truly appreciate the invitation. Thank you.
I look forward to experiencing one of your dinner nights.
Oh yeah, that'll be great. Yeah, we do wine dinners too. That's my favorite because again, I'm a foodie. So
all right, we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Okay, have a good one, Cliff.
You too. Thank you for listening in on this episode of Living a Luxury Life. This program is brought to you by the Luxury Marketing Council, a global network of leaders and influencers in the international luxury industry. Join us next time as we discuss trending topics with luxury lifestyle influencers. I'm your host, Cliff Perotti. Thank you for tuning in.